FCPA is just one of a number of regulatory regulations, of course, that companies have to comply with. There's the UK Bribery Act, the Canadian Anti-Bribery Act, and Nigeria has one, believe it or not. Brazil has one. So there's all this regulatory weight on the shoulders of American businesses and businesses globally to do business in a forthright, ethical, honest manner. Give thoughtful consideration to your third-party engagements. Well, thoughtful consideration in this case better be hiring a company such as ours to do the following. The agent then pulls the registration documents, looks at the beneficial owners and shareholders and directors. He does local research on them, goes to the courts, checks for criminal, civil, legal issues, bankruptcy, et cetera, any concerns there. Regulatory agencies may make discrete inquiries in the business community about the character and the reputation of that third party, developing discrete sources. Let's take a side. All right? These regulations took place in the FCPA in the middle 70s, the UK Anti-Bribery Act more recently, legislating human behavior in foreign jurisdictions. Right? So let's think about how business was conducted in Africa for all those hundreds and hundreds of years prior to the arrival of the U.S. and our regulatory restrictions. They go out with you and they visit every customer, every agent, every client, every supplier, just to see your process and the level of engagement and how you're interacting with them. They pull all the files for their account. When these monitors show up, after you paid this fine, you're only beginning to deal with the fallout of the act of one individual paying a bribe in a foreign jurisdiction that is totally destroying the perception of honest integrity in your business practices. If you're a publicly traded company, your stock's going to drop. Your reputation's going to diminish. Shareholder lawsuits will proliferate. Predatory competition's going to come in and say, hey, you don't want to do business with these guys. They're liars, cheaters, and bribers. Do business with us. Effectively communicate the components of an honest business practice with integrity. Those are the expectations of these regulations. And if you don't comply, this is what happens. There's over 30,000 third parties with whom they engage globally in the sales function.
Chances are, if bribes were paid, yeah, you're going to get hit. Is it going to be $1 billion? Maybe not, because you can make the justification. Look, I did my work. I did my due diligence. I'm trying to make the world a better place. Which, if you put a person on the spot, and this goes back to investigative standards and techniques, knowing how to ask questions. If you ask a person a question and you like their answer, is it too good? Is it complete yes? Being able to add the human element into that interpretation is very important. I think it's important to understand that in certain jurisdictions, in certain industries, yeah, there might be some violations, there might be some corrupt intent, but you might not necessarily be able to do business within that jurisdiction without that individual.
There's a lot of fallout to this kind of behavior if we allow it, if we tolerate it. That's more of a social consideration. Violation is serious enough. That company can be restricted from doing any business with any government officials in a particular country. That can happen. There are generations. You listen to politicians say you can make a difference, but you know what? You can make a difference by making sure that you and the people around you and the jobs you take and everything you do, I don't care if it's HR or accounting or sales or marketing or IT, whatever it is, you have a culture of compliance and do the right thing. Right? 99% of you are going to do the right thing. There's a percentage out there that are going to play with it, go sideways and do funny stuff. That's human nature. We have jobs because of human nature. It's human nature. You can't legislate human behavior. All these regulations, they're not going. You can't change the pressures upon a person to do a bad thing. Another guy wants to bribe. He wants to buy a Ferrari. I'm being silly, but think about it, right? Human behavior being legislated is a difficult notion. People are motivated to do things the right way or the wrong way for a lot of reasons.